the fun stuff, man. Never likes. I'll have
Boosted it
to
back up there.
Yeah, have to readjust this light. Woo, we bright as shit.
Yeah, we hot.
Oh man, what's up, everybody? What's up, man?
Yeah.
Lot of stuff happening. We're back. We're back. We're super excited to be bringing you another episode of Inside the Crazy Ant Farm.
Woo.
A lot of shit has been happening while we've been gone, so we're super excited to just bring a little bit of amazingness back in your life.
2023 starting off with a lot
Facts.
of drama in Hollywood.
Oh man,
A lot of drama, and I'm not talking about the dramatic movie. I'm talking about a lot of just life drama, boy. We're going to get into it.
Oh yeah.
We got a couple subjects that we are definitely going to be talking about. Interesting. And then there's a whole bunch of actual news coming out, some debut trailers, some cancellations, a surprise cancellation, just all kinds of good stuff. And we have a really fun top 5 for y'all looking back at last year. So that's going to be really fun. Man, just I'm excited for the year. It's already been off to a freaking fantastic start. Let me just say this. Anybody watching for the very first time, what's up? Welcome to Inside the Crazy Ant Farm, a.k.a. ITCAF podcast. This is season 6. We've been around for 5 years, launching right now season 6. We've had 2 interviews drop already, and this is the first full show of 2023 and season 6, so we're really excited about that. If you're not familiar with who we are or what we do, we are the definitive go-to source for entertainment news and celebrity interviews in Hollywood, man. That's what the show does. We bring you all of the latest news from Hollywood every week. We interview celebrities. We give you the box office results, the IMDb Starmeter toppers, who's happening, who's not. We bring you a top 5 list that's entertainment related. It's just, as I said, the definitive source. If you're looking for anything that's going down in Hollywood, this is where you come.
This right here. Oh man. We're super excited too because we have some amazing guests that come on the show. We're almost at 200 guests overall that we've had on the show. And I mean, it's been an amazing ride. We've definitely gotten deep with a lot of our guests. I'll absolutely enjoy those interviews. And I know you guys do as well. But we're super excited because we're going to jump right into this thing. And there's a lot happening in Hollywood. So you guys know how it works. There is going to be the intro, and then there's going to be the little pause of silence because it is a podcast. So we can put that on the podcast platforms, and then we'll jump right in. But man, oh man, I'm just excited to be back. A lot of good things to talk about.
Yes.
Not gonna lie. Oh man. Oh, feeling good. Gotta get a nice cup of coffee real quick. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
That is notifying us that we are live.
Yeah.
So
thank goodness I wasn't aware. No.
You didn't know.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
We are back,
baby.
Man, oh man, we're super excited because coming back at you, episode 215, and we have the one and only Paul Sidhu coming on the show. We're super excited about it because he is an absolute indie filmmaking god, okay? I mean, this guy, how he basically got into filmmaking was reading script from the very beginning, man. It's a crazy freaking story that we dive deep into.
Yeah, and then writes himself a movie to star in.
Yeah.
And he's also trying to balance, because get this, guys, he still has a medical practice and he still does that full time along with acting. What?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's incredible. So yeah.
Super excited about it, but man, oh man, here, we'll just restart all of that because that was, this is what happens behind the scenes of the podcast.
Behind the scenes.
You want to put do not disturb?
I had it on do not disturb, but she must have called back.
Powered through, man.
Let's do can we just pause for a moment, or you just keep talking? I'm gonna
sure.
I'm not sure why she would call back to back.
Yeah, so but we're super excited. There's a lot of things happening, but we're just checking on stuff. There's a lot of things freaking happening. But man, oh man, we're trying to get it all worked out because we have so much stuff going on right now. Of course, you guys know about the new podcast that we have going on. There is, it's called Everything's Okay. And that is a mental health podcast that we want to start to bring awareness to, because it's a very important conversation that we feel not enough people are having. So we are super pumped about that. The first episode already dropped back on January 11th. So you can go on all podcast platforms, our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, and on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the places to where you can find that podcast, because like I said, it's very important. And the first episode is kind of like an introduction episode to where we just kind of scratch the layer of who we are as individuals. It's myself, Dustin, and our social media manager, Delana. We talk about how, mental health has impacted our lives and how moving forward, we are able to cope with things and how we power through and get over things. I don't want to say get over things because you feel like you never really get over things. But yeah, I'm super excited about it because it's going to be very important, very special to everyone out there, just to let you guys know that you are not alone. So a lot of good stuff.
Oh, hey,
he's back.
I'm just here to let you know you're not alone.
You're not alone. You are not alone.
Hey, we've got some Michael news.
Look at that. Look at that. It all happens for a reason. Oh my goodness. But we will start over with another tease, another promo. And well, it's all good. It's
life,
all
people,
good.
Life.
Exactly. What's up, everybody? Oh my goodness. If you're watching this episode right now, one more time. Third time is the charm, guys. Third time is the charm. What's up, everybody? If you're watching this video right now, that means episode 215 of Inside the Crazy Ant Farm, featuring the one and only Paul Sidhu, is available right now on all podcast platforms and YouTube.
Hell yes. This is a very interesting interview you guys do not want to miss. Do you think it's hard to balance work life and your hobby or career? What if you want to just change careers altogether? What if you don't want to change careers altogether, but want to have another career? Well, Paul is a full-time practicing doctor with his own medical practice.
Facts.
And a full-time actor and producer and director. What? You can't miss this interview, guys.
You really can't. And then plus we're talking about all of the Alec Baldwin Russ stuff.
Yeah.
We're talking about Bob Iger trying to stave off a Disney takeover and just so much more happening in Hollywood. But man, oh man, like I said, be sure to like and subscribe. That one's good. That one's good, people.
Yeah, no, that one's good.
That one's good.
It worked.
Whoo! We are back, baby. Oh my goodness. Oh, Paul Sidhu coming on the show. This guy is one of the most intellectual people we have ever had on the podcast. Not only is he an actor, writer, producer, he's also a fucking doctor with his own practice, guys. I mean, this is absolutely insane.
Yes. And I mean, I don't even know how he does that. It's hard enough just balancing a career in the entertainment industry, let alone keeping your career as a doctor and doing the entertainment industry. Kudos to him, man. You guys definitely do not want to miss that interview.
You really don't. Well, that's later on the show. Now, let's get a little crazy. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Crazy Ant Farm. Did you like that new music for all you podcast listeners?
Yeah.
Oh, man, we like to change it up a little bit, like to change it up.
New year, new music. That's how it goes, man.
Exactly. We're super excited about this episode because there's a lot of stuff going down in Hollywood.
Oh, my gosh.
And boy, we can't wait to dive into it. But you guys know your host with the most, myself, J-Lo Fantastic, and the one and only Mouse.
What's up?
Oh, man. But before we get this thing started, be sure to leave a rating on this podcast, comment below, and tell us what you think about the show in general. Leaving a rating actually helps the podcast get seen by more people who enjoy the entertainment news, and of course those who are trying to break into the entertainment industry. And that's what this podcast is all about. So lend a helping hand by leaving a comment and a few stars, ratings, all the good things. Depends on which podcast platform you're on, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. All the good things.
And download
all the things. We're super excited though, because like we teased earlier, man, oh man, there's a lot going down in Hollywood. We're going to be talking about Alec Baldwin, the whole Russ stuff. We're going to be talking about SAG-AFTRA. We're going to be talking about Disney, of course, Warner Brothers. Oh, there's so much. And man, oh man, we deep diving into a lot of touchy situations where people fall on either side of the aisle, I shall say.
Yeah, I gotta say, and when we dive into this, you're gonna see, but just based on, the reactions to these stories, both the Disney one and the Alec Baldwin one, it's just indicative of where we're at as a country, because like you said, it's basically 50-50.
It is.
I mean, you can't get a solid one way or the other. We are so split in this country, and I just think that's why we keep seeing things like this.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. I'm excited to get into it though.
Oh, for sure, man. For sure. And before we get this thing started, be sure to head over to our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where this guy's been revamping a little stuff. So stuff looks a little new. But you can check out our merchandise right here, right now. And be sure to follow us to where you know when merchandise goes on sale. We always have promos going on at least like 5,000 times per month. So that's why you got to follow us and purchase some Crazy Ant Media merch, man. This is a new design, Logman design. If you go back and watch another YouTube video that we posted about the upcoming year, you will know what Logman designs are. So that's why you got to subscribe to our channel and watch all of the content so you can stay up to date.
Yes.
Man, oh man. We will be getting started with the biggest thing that's happening, if not the country, definitely the entertainment industry. Rust. Now, everybody knows this happened last year. Now, charges were finally coming out. The judicial district attorney in Santa Fe announced this week that Alec Baldwin and the armorer on set of Rust will be charged with involuntary manslaughter in the death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Now, in October, of course, of 2021, like I said, now the armorer Hannah Gutierrez Reed loaded the weapon. Baldwin and Gutierrez Reed each face 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter, which each carry of a maximum sentence of 18 months in jail. They also will be charged with enhancement with an enhancement for use of a firearm, which carries a mandatory minimum sentence of 5 years. Now, the prosecutor also announced that David Halls, why does that name sound familiar? Well, he was the assistant director on set, and he has agreed to a plea deal. Now, he will plead guilty to charge negligence of a use of a deadly weapon. Halls handed a loaded Colt 45 to Baldwin under the plea deal. Halls will be given a 6-month probation, but will not serve any jail time. Now, Carmack Altwies said in her statement, quote, "If any one of these 3 people, Alec Baldwin, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, and David Halls, had done their jobs, Helena Hutchins would still be alive today. It's that simple." Now, the evidence clearly shows that a pattern of criminal disregard for safety on the Rust set was true. Now, in New Mexico, there is no room for film sets that don't take our state's commitment to gun safety and public safety seriously. So that's the end quote of her statement. There's a lot of stuff happening, and a lot of people are surprised by this.
Oh, yeah. Now, Alec Baldwin has repeatedly argued that he is not to blame for the incident, saying that Halls told him the weapon was cold, meaning it contained only dummy rounds. Now, his attorneys have alleged that Halls and Gutierrez Reed and 2 others were at fault for a chain of missteps that led to the shooting. One of Baldwin's attorneys, Luke Nikas, said in a statement, quote, "The decision distorts Helena Hutchins' tragic death and represents a terrible miscarriage of justice. Mr. Baldwin had no reason to believe there was a live bullet in the gun or anywhere on the movie set. He relied on the professionals with whom he worked, who assured him the gun did not have live rounds. We will fight these charges and we will win."
Now, a lot of these people are pointing fingers at each other.
Oh, for sure.
Now, Gutierrez Reed's attorney, Jason Bowles, and Todd Bullen also faulted the investigation and said that their client will be acquitted at the trial. In a statement, they said, quote, "Hannah is and always has been very emotional and sad about this tragic accident, but she does not commit involuntary manslaughter. These charges are a result of a very flawed investigation and an inaccurate understanding of the full facts. We intend to bring the full truth to light and believe Hannah will be exonerated of wrongdoing by the jury." Now, Hall's attorney, Lisa Terraso, said in an email that with the plea agreement will allow him to put the matter behind him, saying, quote, "Absent no charges at all, this is the best outcome for Mr. Halls. he can now put this matter behind him and allow the focus of this tragedy to be put on the shooting victims and changing the industry so this type of accident never happens again. It's very interesting. Now, and I mean, SAG-AFTRA also came to defense of Alec Baldwin.
Well, yeah, they got involved because they're coming at Alec Baldwin as the actor, not the producer. Remember, he's also a producer on the film. Okay, so SAG-AFTRA has issued a strongly worded statement rebuking the decision to charge Alec Baldwin for involuntary manslaughter. Now, in its statement, SAG-AFTRA takes issue with the prosecutor's line of reasoning, saying, "quote The death of Helena Hutchins is a more so because of its preventable nature, but is not a failure of duty or a criminal act on the part of any performer." The prosecutor's contention that an actor has the duty to ensure the functional and mechanical operation of a firearm on a production set is wrong and uninformed. An actor's job is not to be a firearms or weapons expert. Firearms are provided for their use under the guidance of multiple expert professionals directly responsible for the safe and accurate operation of the firearm. In addition, the employer, pay attention to that. In addition, the employer is always responsible for providing a safe work environment at all times, including hiring and supervising the work professionals trained in the weapons. The guidelines do not make it the performer's responsibility to check any firearm. Performers train to perform, and they are not required or expected to be experts on guns or experienced in their use. The industry assigns the industry assigns that responsibility to qualified professionals who oversee their use and handling in every aspect. Anyone issued a firearm on the set must be given training and guidance in its safe handling and use, but all activity with firearms on a set must be under the careful supervision and control of the professional armorer. And again, pay attention, the employer. Now, I'm bringing that up because, as I said at the top, SAG-AFTRA got involved in this because they don't think it's right that the performer, Alec Baldwin, is being charged with involuntary manslaughter. But he's also one of the producers, therefore one of the employers responsible for hiring an experienced armorer and making sure that everything that is supposed to be done as far as safety procedures when guns are on set and used falls under the employer. They said it right there. It falls under the employer's purvey. He is one of the employers. Now, I'm sure the defense is going to be that he's in name only. He's a producer, name only. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. But if you're listed as a producer, you are one of the employers. You are responsible for the hiring, and therefore you are, in a sense, responsible for this tragedy. I'm just saying.
It's true. And I mean, Brian Panish, the attorney for Hutchins, widower and son, issued a statement on behalf of the family expressing support for the charges and read, quote, "We want to thank Santa Fe Sheriff and District Attorney for concluding their thorough investigation and determining that charges for involuntary manslaughter are warranted for the killing of Helena Hutchins with conscious disregard for human life. Our independent investigation also supports charges are warranted." Now, it is a comfort to the family that in New Mexico, no one is above the law. We support the charges, will fully cooperate with this prosecution, and hope the justice system works to protect the public and hold accountable those who break the law. My thing with that last passage is the family, I know they're going through a lot of stuff. I don't want to take that for granted and say that they're not, but they have been very back and forth on this situation. They have been like super buddy with Alec and like some of the other people who are working on the set, but then like completely switched up the thing. But I feel like that's kind of what happens when lawyers get involved. Think about it like a divorce. Like some people just want to have a nice amicable divorce, but then when lawyers get involved, they're like, we can get so much more out of this. And that's what I'm worried is happening here. But the whole situation has just been shady from the get-go.
Well, and remember, the family settled. They settled a lawsuit. They took a payment and had a settlement agreement in this situation. So here's where I think, though, it's going to get real tough for the prosecutors. the charge of involuntary manslaughter, and then the one with the extension for the misuse of the firearm, that adds the 5 years, right? They're going to have a hard enough time getting the 18-month sentence with Alec Baldwin, and I'll tell you why. Even though he did fire the gun, I honestly believe, and I think it's going to come out, that he truly did believe that that gun was fully loaded with blanks.
Yeah.
He had no idea. He did not willfully attempt to harm anyone in the shooting of that gun. And you have to prove that he recklessly and willfully knew the situation was dangerous and shot the gun. They're never going to get that. No. So getting him even the 18-month sentence is going to be tough. Helena Hutchinson, though, Gutierrez Reed, the armorer, she's gonna get it. Yeah. She's not only the 18 months, but in my opinion, they're gonna prove the reckless part of it, and she's gonna get the 5 years. And in my opinion, should. According to everything that I've been reading, those bullets were distinctively different, and she should have known without doubt that those were loaded with a live round. She should have known. It's her job to know that when she's loading that gun. And the fact that they were color coded and distinctly different, she should have been able to see that she accidentally put a live round in there. She didn't check, and therefore goes the reckless part of it, to where she knew potentially it was dangerous. The first AD smartly took the plea deal because he too is responsible for checking that gun before handing it off to the performer. And he knew he was smart to take the plea deal, because he too should have opened that gun, checked that barrel to make sure that there were no live rounds in that gun, and that be that. So smartly for him, and I think congratulations, sir, on taking responsibility for the action and the fault of what happened, and owning up to it. But
yeah, lastly, before moving on to another thing, I think specifically for Alec Baldwin, he has to quit saying that he didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
This is one of the biggest things that he keeps denying. And it's like, when there's been an investigation about the gun, there was no malfunction with the firearm, so you have to quit saying that you didn't pull the trigger, because it obviously happened. So yeah, we'll see what happens out of this, and we'll keep following it with the sentencing and everything. But
and listen, guys, if I'm have any advice for the prosecutors, you need to rethink the charges against Alec Baldwin and come after the producers, because you have to come after him as a producer and the rest of the employers, because there was gross negligence in the hiring of the armorer, who was extremely inexperienced and should never have been the head armorer on that set.
It was like her second film.
Yeah, her dad is a legendary armorer and has a ton of experience. But there were all kinds of rumors about cost cutting and crew members not getting paid, and so hiring an inexperienced person and throwing them into a position to cut money is unfortunately stuff that happens. But the armorer, for fuck's sake, guns, that's not where you cut costs, people. So if I had any advice to the district attorney, you need to rethink the charges against Alec Baldwin and go the other way and go after it as the employers, not the actor. That's all I'm saying. All right, jumping into Disney?
For sure.
Woo!
Well, Bob Iger is back as CEO, as you all know, and the Mouse House is still going through a lot of turmoil behind the scenes, of course, set up by the one and only fucking Bob Chapek. Disney has named board member Mark Parker, Nike's executive chairman, as its new chairman of the board, succeeding Susan Arnold. Parker's appointment is effective following Disney's upcoming annual meeting of the shareholders, which usually takes place in March. Now, with Arnold unable to stand for re-election, her position due to the board's 15-year limit. As a result, the board will be reduced to 11 members upon Arnold's exit. Now, per Disney, as part of the appointment of Parker, a 7-year member of Disney's board, he will also be leading a new succession planning committee. This is a good idea, which will advise the board on CEO succession planning, including reviewing for internal and external candidates. That's a great idea, because that is the only thing in the past forever, I feel like, that Disney has not really been on the ball with the succession plan. So I'm excited for that. Good for you.
Yeah. And Iger's on board with that, by the way. He wants somebody to have a input on his successor this time, because he was not okay with his successor the last time, as we all know. Now, additionally, the board has responded to a letter from activist investor group Trian Partners recommending that Disney shareholders vote for all of its recommended board nominees rather than Trian's Nelson Peltz, who is at the outset of a proxy fight with Disney right now in his effort to join the board. We think it's a little bit more than an effort to join the board. We think he's coming after the company. Now, according to Disney's recounting of the events, last summer, Peltz actually met with Bob Chapek for lunch at Disneyland Paris last July, and a few days later followed up to inform Chapek of his interest in joining Disney's board, even though at that time the Trian Group CEO was not a Disney investor. Now, get this shady motherfucker who I've hated from the get-go, Marvel Entertainment chairman Isaac Perlmutter, who's not a fan of Iger or Kevin Feige or anybody else for that fucking matter. He apparently is a fan of Peltz, which, surprise, surprise, right? He's a big supporter of Peltz, and had voiced that support since last July when he told Chapek and Disney's chief financial officer, Christine McCarthy, as well as Safra Katz, the chair of Disney's audit committee, and their general counsel, that appointing Peltz to the Disney board would help Mr. Chapek counter recent hard wins that he had faced, solidify his position as CEO, and preempt any other potential shareholder nominations of director nominees at the 2023 annual meeting, adding that without Mr. Peltz there, former executives, including Mr. Iger, would be back at Disney, which obviously did happen. 2 months ago, Trian did actually purchase an approximate $800 million stake in Disney. In a letter sent to the Disney board last week, Trian confirmed its plans to field Peltz as a board nominee at the annual meeting. In announcing Parker's appointment, Disney basically gave Trian a polite brush off, saying they don't intend to nominate him or even bring him up. But with $800 million invested, nearly $1 billion, he's going to have some sway.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. And apparently right now he has this website like Keeping the Magic or Getting Back to the Magic or something like that, where it's basically this big slideshow plan about him complaining about what Disney's doing wrong right now. So it's a very interesting thing. But I mean, guys, don't feel too bad for Chapek. He may have been ousted, but he was paid generously upon his exit. Now, Chapek did receive a pay package worth $24.18 million for 2022 and is set to receive a severance payment worth more than $20 million for Disney's fiscal year end October 1st of 2022. Chapek's compensation package included his base salary of $2.5 million, $10.8 million in stock guarantees, and $3.75 million in stock options. Now, and he's also getting a $6.75 million cash bonus. And, oh my goodness. And about $282,000 for personal air travel and $53,000 in other compensations. Now, Chapek's severance payment subject him successfully completing all the terms of his post-employment consulting agreement will comprise of $6.5 million cash in remaining base salary through the scheduled expiration date and his amended employment agreement, and about $1 million equivalent to a prorated target bonus for fiscal year of 2023. Per the proxy filing, in addition, his termination, Chapek is eligible to receive an accelerated Disney stock worth of $12.7 million. In other words, he's going to be fucking fine for a while just off of the shit that Disney still owes him. So
it's fucking ridiculous to give him all the stock options and stock guarantees because he tanked the fucking stock numbers like unreal. They were, I mean, the drop was significant. And now Iger's back. The new board members there. They're going to turn the ship around. The stock's going to go flying, and Chapek's going to be rich as fuck because of it. So
it's unfair, man. It's really unfair.
Like, while so many shareholders lost a shit ton of money under his reign, he's going to benefit from the turnaround and fix from Iger and the gang, and he's going to benefit hugely from the stock options that he got. I just don't think that's right.
I agree.
Avatar, here's what is right, though, apparently for Disney.
Yeah.
Avatar, The Way of Water has generated $1.928 billion globally, overtaking Spider-Man No Way Home with $1.91 billion as the 6th highest grossing release in box office history. Now, the sci-fi tentpole's next major hurdle is crossing $2 billion, a feat achieved by only 5 films in history. The first Avatar, $2.9 billion, Avengers Endgame, $2.79 billion, Titanic, $2.2 billion, Star Wars The Force Awakens with $2.069 billion, and Avengers Infinity War with $2.04 billion. Now, if you're keeping track, boys and girls, those are all Disney owned.
Yeah.
Disney's the only studio to have any film reach the $2 billion mark. And if this Avatar does it, Cameron will have 3 out of the 6 films to achieve $2 billion or more. That's fucking crazy.
It is.
If it does hit that mark, which likely it will, it'll also be the first pandemic era movie, as well as Cameron's 3rd film, like I just said, to join the coveted club. The Way of Water currently stands as the 13th highest grossing movie, passing The Lion King, The Dark Knight, and Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. The film is still playing in 3,790 theaters and added $4.6 million to its hauls yesterday. And the domestic total for the sequel should be on the edge of $600 million by Monday, putting the film just a stone's throw away from taking down The Incredibles 2 as the 12th highest grossing film of all time in North America. Now, its domestic total currently stands at $582 million. The Avatar sequel has made more than its 2009 predecessor at this point already, though it continues to put up heavier drops than the predecessor did. Now, overseas, the movie ranks as the 5th highest grossing release ever, behind the original Avatar, Avengers Endgame, Titanic, and Avengers Infinity War. It's also ever so close to dethroning Infinity War, which remains in 4th place with $1.37 billion. After multiple oh, no, this is you.
No, right.
No, I'm just all excited. I'm just going, man. That's a lot of money for fucking Disney.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, I think it's going to make it. I think it's going to get it into profitability. But man, oh man, I mean, regardless of what we think about James Cameron, he makes these movies for so much money, but then he in turn gets the money back and a little some. So I mean, kudos to him. He's very ingenuitive in that way. And I mean, it's very interesting to see and to think about his process and how he thinks about it, because he's never fucking worried about how much money he spends, because he's like, I got it. It's all good.
Yeah.
But I mean, this fucking film's going to be in theaters for the next 3 years. So, I mean, might as well go see it. You have time.
Yeah, right.
Oh, my goodness. Well, after multiple false starts, Disney is back on track for the 3rd Tron movie with Jared Leto attached to star and Maleficent, Mistress of Evil director Mochheim Rohan in talks to helm, normally titled Tron Ares. The film would follow the groundbreaking 1982 film Tron, starring Jeff Bridges, and the 2010 sequel Tron Legacy, which starred Bridges, Garrett Hedlund, and Olivia Wilde, was the feature directorial debut for Top Gun Maverick filmmaker Joseph Kosinski.
Yeah.
Leto first plugged into the 3rd Tron movie back in 2017 as the star and producer. And he has remained attached ever since. Now, Garth Davis from Lion signed on to helm the movie back in 2020, but they ultimately parted ways on the project. I'm betting because of creative differences, because this is such like a cult thing that I would just expect everybody to have so many different ideas. So it's interesting, man. I never have seen any of them. So,
or it could be for scheduling reasons. I mean, fuck, the thing's been in development for 5 years. It's hard to stay on to a project for 5 years. I mean,
it's true.
This is exciting though. Did you guys see this? Holy shit. We loved this. Disney released the first official trailer for season 3 of The Mandalorian, which will debut on Disney Plus on March 1st. Woo, that's right around the corner. The new footage shows Din Djarin, of course, played by Pedro Pascal, and Grogu journeying across the galaxy far, far away, facing threats from Mandalorian home planet Mandalore and a bustling urban planet Coruscant. The trailer also shows off a group of Jedi warriors wielding lightsabers lightsabers, a pair of crackling Anzelian creatures, and Grogu showing off some of his Force powers. The third season will take place following the events of the Book of Boba Fett, which of course we saw Din last seen reuniting with Grogu, his training Jedi warrior. The two were heading to the planet Mandalore to restore Din's honor. Pascal returns as the galaxy's notorious bounty hunter, with Carl Weathers, Giancarlo Esposito, and Katie Sackhoff all reprising their roles as well for the third season. Now, get this, Christopher Lloyd is also confirmed to make a cameo this season, so that'll be interesting.
That's very exciting, man. I'm super pumped, and I mean, we've seen flashback scenes before from when Grogu got taken by the Empire, and that's what it kind of reminded me a little bit with the lightsabers scene, but I'm hoping there's going to be a little bit more expanding on his time at the temple and, you know, learning from the masters and things like that. So I'm very excited about that. But yeah, a lot of good things coming to the Star Wars universe, man. I'm super freaking excited.
Yes.
This is definitely the flagship right now for Star Wars.
Without doubt.
So
yeah,
super excited. Another exciting things in a surprise announcement via social media, only Murderers in the Building star Selena Gomez posted a behind the scenes video that shows her with her co-stars Steve Martin, Martin Short, Andrea Martin, and Paul Rudd. Suddenly, the one and only queen of acting pops up, Meryl Streep. Oh my goodness. She is going to be a part of the castmates for this upcoming season. Oh my man. Uncomfortable and Pillows upcoming. Welcome to the building. Lady Hulu did confirm the casting news, but did not provide any additional information about Streep's character. In July, though, Hulu ordered the third season of the series from 20th Television. The second season ended in August of 2022. It's definitely one of those shows right now where I feel like all the A-listers want to be on. It's just so different and then anybody has seen before. So I'm excited for the next season.
I mean, come on, Paul Rudd and Meryl Streep. Can the cast get any better?
Right.
Like, it's already phenomenal. You just keep adding these people.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, this is pretty cool too. I think this is a great way to do it. To celebrate its 20th anniversary next week, ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live is going back to the beginning. The late night series will air a special episode in prime time on Thursday, January 26th, featuring, guess what? The original guests from the original show back in 2003. George Clooney, Snoop Dogg, and Coldplay are all returning. The special will air that night at 10 p.m. Eastern and then repeat again in the normal Jimmy Kimmel Live slot at 11:35 p.m. That marks 20 years to the day that the show premiered on Sunday, January 26th, 2003.
Oh, that's special, man. That's really special.
Awesome.
I know. And I mean, I wonder what strings they had to pull to get everybody back together. It's like, hey, remember back then we were all on the same like night of Jimmy Kimmel. That's hilarious. Well, ABC has handed a pilot order to a single camera comedy, Public Defenders, from Acapulco and Duncanville writer Eddie Quintana and McGee. The project, which comes from 20th Television, follows four inexperienced public defenders up to their ear holes in student loan debt who work tirelessly to keep their clients out of jail. Along the way, they have to rely on each other to navigate their first defendants, the absurd court system, and the copy machine that always fucking jams. Now, Public Defenders is one of the number of comedy scripts that ABC has been developing for its next round of comedy pilots. So it's very exciting, and I'm excited to see what comes next.
Yeah, and it's so nice too, because normally courtroom type drama, they're always dramas, right? So to throw in a comedy it's gonna be hilarious.
Oh, for sure.
FX has added 7 to the recurring cast for the Sterling Affairs, its limited series about the downfall of Los Angeles Clippers owner Donald Sterling amid the team's drive to win a championship under Coach Doc Rivers. Y'all remember all that craziness.
Oh, yeah.
Harriet Sampson Harris, Corbin Burnson, Yvonne Pearson, Jock McKissick, Daryl Wesley, Rich Summer, and Clifton Davis are all joining leads Lawrence Fishburne and Jackie Weaver in the 6-episode series. That's a phenomenal cast.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, if Lawrence Fishburne is playing Doc Rivers, I mean, perfect casting. I'm just saying, I'm really excited about that one. Well, heading over to Warner Brothers Discovery. Now they have tapped an old school television exec, Ken Lowe, to join the media company board of directors. Lowe will join Warner Brothers Discovery's board effective April 2nd of 2023 as a Class 1 director and stand for election at at it in 2023. Annual shareholders meeting. Lowe fills the seat that was vacated by a retirement of Robert Bennett, managing director of investment firm Hilltop Investments, on April 1st. Now, Lowe was chairman and president and CEO of Scripps Network, now owner of basic cable brands including Food Network, HGTV, and the Travel Channel. From its split from the EW Scripps Company in 2008 until its sale to Discovery in 2018 for $14.7 billion. He was also a member of the Discovery board. Well, that just makes sense, doesn't it, Zaslav?
So yeah, so he's a yes man for Zaslav. He's slowly getting rid of all the Warner Brothers people and replacing them with his people. This guy was in charge of the company that integrated with the Food Network and all that, because Discovery owns all that.
Yep.
So he basically was responsible for the sale of all that shit to Zaslav.
Yep.
Then got a board position from Zaslav and now is on the board of the new company. Yes, man. Yes, man. Yes, man. I'm just saying. Come on. Warner Brothers Television is in talks. This sounds extremely entertaining, though. Warner Brothers Television is in talks to develop a limited series based on the life of silent film star Buster Keaton. The project would star Rami Malek, who would be fucking perfect, in my opinion, as Keaton. The Batman director, Matt Reeves, would direct the limited series and produce via his Sixth and Idaho Productions banner, which is, of course, under an overall deal at Warner Brothers TV. Now, Keaton, if you're unfamiliar, he lived from 1895 to 1966 and was thought of as one of the most prominent stars of the silent film era, aside from Charlie Chaplin himself. He got his start as a child in vaudeville acts alongside his parents, who were traveling performers, before transitioning into film in the late 1910s. So, yeah, I mean, Buster Keaton was wildly successful, and I think this is going to be a really interesting look at his life.
Exactly. Like we always say, entertainment is the best form of education.
Yes.
Well, The Last of Us drew a healthy number for HBO on Sunday night. The video game adaptation starring Pedro Pascal drew 4.7 million viewers across linear and HBO Max. It has marked the largest debut after House of the Dragon since Boardwalk Empire launched back in 2010.
Wow.
Now, the Game of Thrones spinoff made history last year by premiering with 9.986 million viewers across linear and HBO Max, the largest audience for any new original series in history of the paid cabler. Now, the premiere numbers were nearly double the season 2 debut for Euphoria, which recorded 2.4 million last January. The series went on to average 19.5 viewers per episode in the US. HBO said that Sunday night viewership typically represents 20 to 40% of the show's total gross audience per episode. But I mean, it's super exciting because a lot of people were really anticipating it, and is definitely on my agenda to watch this weekend. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, me too. I'm definitely giving it a shot because I mean, it's got an amazing cast.
Exactly.
First of all, I mean, come on. The HBO limited series The Palace, starring Kate Winslet, has added Martha Plimpton to the cast. In addition, Jessica Hobbs has boarded the series as co-executive producer and director. Now, along with Winslet and Plimpton, the cast for the show also includes Hugh Grant, Matthias Schoenaerts, and Andrea Riseborough. Exact character details are being kept, of course, under wraps, but according to the official log line for The Palace, the show tells the story of 1 year within the walls of the palace of an authoritarian regime as it begins to unravel. It was originally ordered back at HBO in July of 2022. So there you go.
Very interesting, man. Very interesting. And I just like the name Plimpton.
Yeah, Plimpton, Martha Plimpton. She's great, though.
Plimpton.
Yeah.
Plimpton. Winning Time executive producer Rodney Barnes has boarded HBO's limited series project set to star Mashallah Ali as boxing legend Jack Johnson.
Yes.
Barnes, who is under an overall deal with HBO, will serve as writer and executive producer on the untitled Jack Johnson limited series. He is one of several new creative species people who have joined the project in development, originally announced back in 2020, along with Melina Maskokas from Queen and Slim and Insecure, who has come on board to executive produce and be a director. And Kuhala Neal from The Last Man in San Francisco and P-Valley, who has signed on as executive producer as well. Barnes succeeds Dominique Merchuru, who had been originally tapped to write the limited series from Tom Hanks and Gary Gutzman's Playtone. Now, the 6-part series is described as an unapologetically black, no-holds-barred telling of Jack Johnson, the world's first black heavyweight boxing champion. Now, the bold exploration depicts the champion's rise to athletic greatness and the cost he paid for his skin and defiance, which created a blueprint for Black resilience and everyday justice movement for generations to come. Now, that is exactly what I'm talking about with entertainment education. That sounds really freaking exciting, especially, I mean, that cast and I mean, the people who have on for behind the scenes. I feel like it's going to be successful.
Yeah, no, Tom Hanks. I mean, come on, he's like batting 1,000 anytime he brings anything to TV.
Really
is like not batting 1,000. Gossip Girl.
Not surprised.
Yeah, no, HBO Max has canceled the Gossip Girl revival after just 2 seasons. The news comes the same day that the Pendulum episode of season 2 was released. The now series finale, titled "I Am Gossip," will debut January 26th, as sources say the second season was designed with some finality, so they must have known it was coming.
Yeah, I mean, this one is kind of the writing on the wall. I feel like, you know, a lot of people are like, why the fuck did they redo that? But, you know, this is what it is, and hopefully everybody got paid, rightfully so. Paramount's adaptation of Tom Clancy's novel Rainbow Six has found its director, Chad Stahelski, and the director from the John Wick movies has been tapped to direct the first feature project that is serving as a Michael B. Jordan action vehicle and follow-up to the actor and studio's 2021 action thriller Without Remorse. Now, Jordan is starring and producing with Elizabeth Raposo via the duo's Outlier Society banner. Now, Jordan will once again be playing Navy SEAL turned CIA operative John Clark, one of Clancy's more popular characters who appeared in the late author's Jack Ryan spy books. Now, Without Remorse served as a Clark origin story of sorts and was made during the pandemic. Now, Paramount offloaded the movie to Amazon, where it debuted in April 30th to 2021. Paramount intends to release Rainbow Six theatrically, although final decisions won't be made until a later date. But I mean, Rainbow Six, come on. I feel like that was a popular one of his. So I wouldn't be surprised if it does big numbers.
Yeah, I liked Without Remorse. I mean, I know it debuted on Amazon, but it was a really good movie, and Michael B. Jordan was great as the character.
Agreed.
So I'm excited to see the follow-up. I'm thrilled. Everybody's excited to see this one, with the exception of maybe Nev Campbell. Paramount Pictures has released the first official trailer for Scream 6. Yes, 6, which features Ghostface on the prowl in, are you ready for it? New York City.
Love it.
And it brings back Hayden Panettiere's character from Scream 4. Now, in the trailer, Ghostface terrorizes a bodega and the New York subway as his old survivors team up to kill him. The 6th installment stars Scream alum Courtney Cox, as well as Jenna Ortega, Melissa Barrera, Jasmine Savoy Brown, and Mason Gooding from 2022's Scream. Newcomers include Serena Weaving, Dermot Mulrooney, Tony Revelari, Josh Segarra, Liana Liberato, and Jack Champion. Of course, Panettiere, who played Kirby Reed in 2011 Scream 4, was briefly seen in a photograph in last year's Scream, confirming she was still alive after surviving her run-in with Ghostface. Scream 6 is without its franchise lead, Nev Campbell, who played Sidney Prescott, of course. She exited the film, as we told you, over a pay dispute last year. Matt Bentalini Oplin and Tyler Gillette, who helmed the 5th installment of the franchise, direct from a script written by James Vanderbilt and Guy Busiak. Now, Scream 6 premieres in theaters March 10th. So
I love the Scream movies. I'm not gonna lie to you; they're so fucking entertaining. I'm really excited to see this one. And fucking Jenna Ortega, man, she's killing it.
She's the it girl right now, for sure.
And I mean, she's completely taken over this franchise. And I mean, Wednesday got a 2nd season at Netflix. And I mean, so much happening. So kudos to her with being so young and being very successful right now. CBS announced that NCIS Los Angeles is coming to a close. The currently airing 14th season of the drama will be its last, with the series finale set to air May 14th. The series premiered back in 2009, if for all those who had to say that, as the second installment of the NCIS franchise, preceded by the still running NCIS and followed by the NCIS New Orleans, which ran from 2014 to 2021. The NCIS Hawaii, which premiered in 2021 and is currently airing its second season, and NCIS Sydney is set to premiere later this year. So a lot of things, man, a lot of things, but just know you will not be a part of the Dick Wolf universe. Just saying. Just saying.
SEAL Team apparently is also still a huge hit. It's been renewed for season 7 at Paramount Plus. The 7th season of the military drama series will now be the 3rd season of the show to air on Paramount Plus, with the show having originally aired, of course, on CBS before moving to the streamer after its 4th season. Season 6 of SEAL Team consisted of 10 episodes and wrapped up in November of last year. So it's doing extremely well. We know it lost Max Terrio because he's on to, Fire Country, but that's also still kicking ass and got renewed for season 2. Woo! But
for sure,
it makes sense. This is a popular show, and it's good to see it keep running. So.
I completely agree. Now, Dennis Quaid, who is Jack Quaid's father, some people didn't know.
I did not know. Meg Ryan is the mama, his baby mama. So I didn't know.
Has signed on to star opposite of David Oyelowo in the upcoming Paramount Plus series, Base Rivs. The series is currently filming in Texas, and we will see Oyelowo play the legendary title lawman. Per the official description, Rivas was known as the greatest frontier hero in American history and is also believed to be the inspiration for the Lone Ranger. He also worked in the post-Reconstruction era of the federal peace officer in the Indian Territory, capturing over 3,000 of the most dangerous criminals without ever being wounded. Now, Quaid will play Cheryl Lynn, a deputy U.S. Marshal. He is the first cast member alongside David to be officially confirmed for this series. So that's exciting, and it kind of sounds like another cowboy thing. Get off of Taylor Sheridan's dick.
Yeah. So, but what's interesting about this one is how racist was like Hollywood back in the day.
Yeah.
Because Bass Reeves was a black man.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, being played by a black man now. But he was the inspiration for the Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
Who was a pasty ass white guy. So the whole story of the Lone Ranger is based on this Bass Reeves, and he was a black man.
Yep. Kind of fucked.
You couldn't find a black man to play the Lone Ranger? Nope. I'm just saying. Jumping over to NBC Universal, 2-time Oscar winner Anthony Hopkins has joined those about to die, the epic period drama from Roland Emmerich for Peacock. Hopkins, who won Oscars for The Father and, as I just mentioned, Silence of the Lambs in my weirdest way possible, will play Emperor Vespian in the drama, which scored a straight-to-series order last summer. Now, production will begin in Cincinnati Studios in Rome in March. The series, which is inspired by Daniel Mannix's nonfiction book, is a large-scale drama set within the spectacular, complex, and corrupt world of gladiatorial sports in ancient Rome. It introduces an ensemble of diverse characters across the many layers of Roman society where sports, politics, and business intersect and collide. Hopkins, Vespian, the emperor of Rome and the head of the Flavian bloodline, is battle-tested, a rural upstart who claimed his throne after victory in a bloody 10-year civil war. He is aging and is despised by the Patricians, jockeying for position in the empire and looking to supplant his heirs to the throne the first chance they get. That sounds gritty.
It does sound really gritty. And two things. I feel like Anthony Hopkins is going to be perfect for this era of type of storytelling. And two, I'm surprised he hasn't retired yet. He's getting up
He keeps saying it. Yeah. He keeps saying he's done, and yet he keeps coming back. So
he's like, well, if you keep giving me more Oscars, it's fine. It's fine. Well, James Wan's Atomic Monster and Jason Blum's Blumhouse banners have officially announced a sequel to Megan, the horse sensation that opened January 6th, titled Megan. Now, this one's going to be titled Megan 2.0. Now, the script is being written by Alika Cooper, who wrote the original. There's even a release date, of January 17th of 2025. I mean, kudos to them, man. I'm truly surprised by this. I haven't personally seen it yet, but I thought this was going to be a major fucking bomb. And I mean, it's doing pretty well. I mean, post-pandemic era, if you're not a Marvel movie or Avatar, you're not making really over $21 million. And I mean, this one opened around 30 million, which is kind of pre-pandemic era for these type of movies.
Yeah.
So kudos to them. And I mean, I'm curious now, man. I'm going to have to fucking watch it. Damn it.
Yeah. Now, is Allison coming back? I guess the two stars are coming back, right?
I'm assuming.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So NBC's latest primetime offering, Night Court, which I was super excited about. I still have to check it out. I haven't done it, but I was a huge fan of the original, so I'm definitely checking it out. It apparently took down the Tuesday night competition with its debut on January 17th with a back-to-back programming schedule featuring the first 2 episodes and starting at 8 p.m. on the network. The revived comedy starring Melissa Raunch from Big Bang Theory, you guys know, as Judge Abby Stone, the daughter of Harry Stone from the original, opened to 1.0 rating among the adults 18 to 49 and 7.39 million total viewers. That's a lot for network, guys. That's a lot. That's a big number. Let's see. Following at 8:30, the second episode dropped 10%, just 10% in ratings, receiving a 0.9 within the key demo and an 8.72% fall in total viewers. Still, 6.75 million total viewers for the bottom half of the hour is a solid performance for an opening night for the network. This actually marks the highest total viewers of any comedy premiere since The Conners back in 2018 and the best on NBC since Will and Grace in 2017.
Wow.
Both of which were also revivals and huge comedies. So there you go.
There it is, man. There it is. And this one's very interesting as well. Bradley Whitford will guest star as a professor struggling with early onset dementia who confesses to a murder on the February 23rd episode of Law and Order SVU.
Yes.
Now, the episode will be directed by Mariska Hargitay. Oh, man. Whitford is the latest addition to an ever-changing Law and Order SVU cast. Now, the procedural drama, currently in its 24th season, recently said goodbye to longtime cast member Kelly Giddish, who played Detective Amanda Rollins for more than a decade. Now, Law and Order SVU airs on NBC Thursdays at 9 p.m. And we had Kelly Giddish on the show. So if you want to go back and listen to that episode, please do. She is an absolute hoot.
Yes, and talks all about the departure from the show and all of her memories about the show. So you definitely want to go back and check that one out if you haven't already. This is an interesting one, and I hope it's nothing serious, and I hope everything is okay. Taylor Kinney, who portrays Kelly Siverard on Chicago Fire, stepping away from the NBC drama. A source close to the production confirms that the actor is on a leave of absence to deal with a personal matter. Kinney has led the Dick Wolf series since its debut in 2012. In addition to the Firefighter series, he has also appeared on all of the spin-offs, including Chicago Med, Chicago PD, and the short-lived Chicago Justice. So anytime you hear leave of absence for a personal reason, you know, you just hope everything is okay. So hopefully we'll see him back soon, and best of luck to whatever he's dealing with, man.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the creator of one of the stars of Good Girls are reuniting at NBC. The network has given a formal pilot order to Murder by the Book, a mystery drama starring Rita. Now, the project comes from Good Girls creator Gina Bands and executive producer Bill Krebs. The potential series has been in the works for several months now. The log line for Murder by the Books reads like a bit like a play, a little bit like a play, and on the Murder She Wrote, Retta will star as Instagram famous big city book reviewer who takes a page from the mystery books that she is reviewing and becomes an unlikely detective to uncover a shocking truth about the eccentric seaside town. Now, Retta, who's signed a holding deal with NBC Universal about a year ago, has a long history with the company prior to Good Girls. Now, which ran for 4 seasons at NBC. She played Donna Maggle on the network's Parks and Recreation as well. So a lot of things happening there.
For sure. That doesn't sound like a little bit of a play on Murder, She Wrote to me. That sounds like an exact fucking copy. But hey, well, I'm just saying they're just updating it modern. Okay. This is exciting. Tatiana Ali, who played, of course, Ashley Banks in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, set to recur as an English literature teacher in the second season of the Peacock reboot, Bel-Air. And this is even more interesting. The streamer also released the season 2 trailer, which teases a tumultuous times ahead for Will. Ali joined stars Jabari Banks, Adrian Holmes, and Cassandra Freeman in the new 10-episode season that kicked February 23rd on Peacock. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Ali will play Mrs. Hughes, a teacher at Bel-Air Middle School who sees something special in Ashley. Now I love that. The original Ashley is going to have a heavy storyline involved with the new Ashley, played by another one of our former guests. Go back and listen to her interview. It was fantastic. Akira Akbar. Now, per the log line, season 2 of Bel-Air picks up with Will at a crossroads as a new figure comes into his life who challenges what he's learned in Bel-Air and competes for control of his influence. He juggles this while navigating his home life with the Banks family and trying to rebuild the trust that was broken at the end of last season. We'll see Will and Carlton's brotherhood start to evolve as they grow closer, but still challenge each other about their differences. We'll also see Hillary evolve as she becomes more of a boss in her influencer world and how that spills over into her relationship with Jazz. And also highlight the relatable struggles around Viv and Philip balancing marriage and family while trying to forge their own career paths. I mean, all kinds of life going on in that show. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot happening. And remember, Jeffrey left at the end of last season.
Yeah.
So how does that play out? I'm very curious. I'm still reading Will Smith's memoir, Will, right now. So it's all fucking like going in my head. But man, oh man, Craig Ferguson, the comic who anchored CBS's Late Late Show for 9 years, is hoping to make a return for 2 wee hours programming. Now, Sony Pictures Television aims to launch a new half-hour syndicated late night talk show led by Ferguson in the fall. Channel Surf with Craig Ferguson will review the shocking, surprising, and hilarious moments of the week's shows. Joined by friends and guest stars, the pilot was shot in the UK this month, and Sony Pictures Television will take the show out for potential buyers this week in Los Angeles. So we'll see if it pops up anywhere.
Yeah, it sounds like remember Talk Soup? And it took a look at all of the week's moments from talk shows.
Yeah.
So this is going to just take a look at actual shows, which I think will be cool. This one, I'm just not so sure about. Do we need this one? Can we just let this one rest? That's all. That's my opinion.
Well, it's kind of scary after the Whitney one kind of fell flat on
Yeah,
its face.
yeah. And I mean, this is controversial. And especially now after the death of Lisa Marie, do we really need this? Antoine Fuqua is set to direct Michael, a Lionsgate drama telling the complex life story of the iconic singer Michael Jackson. A script is in by John Logan, and the film will be produced by Graham King, who turned the Freddie Mercury Queen story into the blockbuster Oscar Best Picture nominated Bohemian Rhapsody. This has been a long passion project for King and Logan, who teamed on the Oscar nominated Martin Scorsese directed Howard Hughes films The Aviator and his race to innovate before his mental illness and xenophobic obsessions overtook him. Now, sources tell us that the film will undoubtedly make the most of Jackson's musical accomplishments, and the recreation of his seminal career highlights, beginning with the days he fronted the Jackson 5 as a child to his hit-making work as the biggest musical star in the world as an adult. But it will also apparently deal squarely on the pedophilia accusations that dogged him in later years up to his 2009 death at age 50 from cardiac arrest, caused, of course, by drugs. Production will begin later this year, and the hope is that Michael will be a global juggernaut like Bohemian Rhapsody, which had grossed over $900 million worldwide and created a new appetite for the music of Queen. One, I don't think we need a new appetite for Michael Jackson's music. It still does pretty fucking well.
It does.
And do we really need to address this story again?
Especially with, not Surviving R. Kelly, but the Michael Jackson one was happening at the same time. I forget the title of it. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how they play that. Like, are they going to play in defense of it? Are they going to leave it wide open for interpretation? Or I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. The only hope I have for it is it has the people behind Bohemian Rhapsody, because personally, that's the only one that was somewhat decent in my opinion. Like, I wasn't a fan of the Elton John one. I wasn't really a fan of the Tupac one. Like, there's all this different
Really? You didn't
stuff.
like Rocket Man?
I didn't like Rocket Man. I kind of like Straight Outta Compton, but I mean, Ice Cube's son kind of made that for me. But yeah, I mean, the biopics, man, I'm not really a fan. And it's not even that I'm not a fan of the premise. I'm not a fan of the storytelling. So it's very interesting. So we'll see how it does. Shortly after its season 2 premiere on January 6th, Starz has ordered a 3rd installment of BMF.
Yes.
Now, the premier cabler made the announcement this week, sharing that the drama series ranked most social engagement drama across all networks over premiere weekend with 4.1 million multi-platform viewers. The story serves as a dramatic retelling of Detroit's notorious brothers, Demetrius Big Meat Flannery and Terry Southwest T. Flannery, who grew up in the ruthless streets of Southwest Detroit in the late 80s and eventually became the country's most prolific crime families in the country. Now, Black Mafia Family, which is BMF, is executively produced by Curtis 50 Cent Jackson and alongside showrunner and executive producer, writer from Detroit native Randy Huggins, all the good ones. But yeah, it's very interesting. And I didn't know. I learned mid-season that the guy who's playing Big Meech is actually Big Meech's son.
Yeah.
It's so wild, man.
And he's a good actor. He had never done any kind of acting and was convinced by 50 Cent to give it a try. And he's actually really good. If you go back and watch that first season, you can see his progression as an actor throughout the show. I'm just really excited this got picked up for not only season 2, but season 3, because if you're not familiar with the story of this family and how it all went down, they actually turn on each other. Spoiler alert. And it gets pretty nasty and between the two. So I'm excited that we're going to see that play out.
Yeah.
You've seen hints of it that they get into little spats or whatever, but it ends up being a big deal when they turn on each other. So I can't wait to see how it all plays out. Another popular show at Starz, which continues to just dominate, I guess, Outlander has been renewed for season 8, which will also be the show's last season, but it's not the end of the road. Don't worry for Jamie Fraser's story. Starz has officially placed a green light order for Outlander Blood of My Blood, a prequel series to the popular drama, which has been on the premium cabler since 2014. The 8th season of Outlander will consist of 10 episodes following an extended 16-episode season 7, which is currently in production.
Nice.
So, yeah, there you
really
go.
Cool, man. Really cool. Well, Amazon/MGM, Yami Yosef's upcoming Amazon animated series has set its main cast. The series, which was originally ordered for 2 seasons back in March of 2022 under Yosef's first look deal with Amazon, is now titled Number 1 Happy Family USA. The series regulars are Yosef alongside Aliyah Shwak, and Thalma Hindi, Randi Jar, Mandy Moore, Chris Reed, Akash Singh, and Wilmer Thomas. Now, the series logline describes Number 1 Family, Happy Family in USA as an exploration of experience of a Muslim American family that must learn how to code switch as they navigate the early 2000s, a time of fear, war, and rapid expansion of a boy band industrial complex. It's a very interesting concept, especially in that time period after 9/11.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of racism towards indigenous people, specifically Muslim people. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting.
I'm also very curious to see how Mandy Moore plays into that cast.
Yeah.
Well, what character she play? I have no idea. After 2 years without an update, have you guys been waiting on this? We have. Invincible is back. Almost. The series is set to return for its 2nd season on Amazon Prime in late 2023. Now, season 1 of Invincible ran from March to April of 2021. Yeah, guys, 2 freaking years ago. The series was immediately renewed for both a 2nd and 3rd season at Amazon, gaining wide popularity and critical acclaim. So why did we have to wait 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, it's animated, so what's going on? I'm guessing just scheduling conflicts.
I guess.
Well, Rachel Bronson, talking about Marvel's No, we're not. Haha. Is attached to lead a new limited series, not Marvelous Miss Maisel, that is in the works at Amazon. The series is currently titled Lois and Varga. Now, and that is based on a short story by Lisa Tato. Miriam Bellatay is adapting a story for the screen with Bodies director Helena Regine attached to helm the pilot. The official logline states that the show follows a newly married couple that moves to a small town and vaulted island after inheriting a heavenly parcel of oceanfront property. But once they arrive, they meet Varga, the island's only stripper and yoga teacher, who begins to sinisterly unravel their lives. News of the series' development keeps Bronson in business with Amazon, of course, as she is currently starring in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. So it's very interesting.
Now, is she going to play Varga? I'm thinking she's playing Varga, the stripper and yoga teacher.
It would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I can't. She's not going to be straight-laced Lois, I don't think.
No, because, I mean, show a little bit of diversity. You know, the difference between your character over here, character over there.
Yeah. So now we'll wait for the casting announcement of who's playing the other one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because that's coming.
Exactly.
Hey, we've been talking already, right? Warner Brothers, Disney, all these shakeups on boards and CEOs and everything. Well, Netflix is in on the game too. And this one kind of came as a shocker. I just didn't think he'd ever go away, but apparently he's not really going away, but he is. Reed Hastings, the co-founder and co-CEO of Netflix, stepped down as chief executive officer. He remains as an employee of the company, serving as executive chairman of the board. Now, Ted Sarandos, co-CEO and formerly chief content officer, and Greg Peters, previously chief product officer and chief operating officer, will now serve jointly as co-CEOs. In addition, Netflix named Bella Bahara, formerly the head of global TV, to the position of chief content officer, while Scott Stuber, head of global films, has the new title of chairman of Netflix Films. The leadership shuffle came as Netflix reported fourth quarter 2022 earnings Thursday, adding a net 7.7 million new subscribers, far more than the 4.5 million it previously forecast. Hastings said Netflix's board has been discussing his succession planning for years. It's the initial reason that Ted Sarandos was bumped up to co-CEO, because they were planning on Reed's eventual stepping down. So, that's
a couple of different things that, I want to touch on in this story is, one, why still co-CEOs? That's my thing. Like, why not just still have fucking
Ted as the full CEO?
Yeah, Ted as full CEO, keep him as COO. And then the second thing is Bella Bahara. She actually just had a piece published about her. I don't remember what publication it was, but basically the reporter, the journalist, followed her all around the world, like exclusive access. And she had a very perceptive, like interesting take on how they make content. And it's not about her specific taste, but it's about what is doing well in the markets right now. And I thought that was very interesting because, you go into projects that you take on or that you look at, especially being industry professionals as ourselves. And we're like, do we like this? Are we going to, want to do this and be invested? She looks at the marketplace and not her own personal interest. I thought that was a very interesting perspective. So I could see why she was bumped up to COO.
Yeah, no, it's a good question though about why Ted is not full CEO.
Yeah,
I don't understand why that move wasn't made, and I'm wondering, they get criticized a lot for the debt that they carry and how much money they spend.
Facts.
You've also got some news there, right? Are they still spending a lot of money, or are they actually cutting back?
Well, I mean, they're still spending a small fortune on content, but relatively speaking, the streamer in 2022 kept a lid on the payments for the TV shows and movies, underscoring that the days of the runaway spending on programming are behind it. Believe it when I see it. Last year, the streamer paid out $16.8 billion with a B on a cash basis for content, which was 4.9 less than 2021.
16 billion is less?
Yeah, Jesus man. When it shelled out 17.7 billion. According to Netflix's financial statements released this week for its fourth quarter earnings report, Netflix content obligations payments for the acquisitions, licensing, and production of content over multi-year periods also declined last year, dropping 5.7% from 23.16 billion to 21.83 billion. Oh my goodness, it's so crazy. It hurts my stomach to read those numbers.
Cash. They're just flopping over that kind of cash. Okay, so we know that they're going to at least be spending somewhere between 16 and 20 billion dollars on content, right? That's what I'm getting from that. And what are they going to be spending it on? Well, we have some things for you. Netflix has unveiled its 2023 feature film slate consisting of 49 titles. Now, the streamer's feature slate has slimmed down significantly. Yeah, because I guess they're spending less money.
Makes sense.
When 86 films in 2022 were announced. It should also be noted that 9 of the films on the list were originally set for release as part of last year's lineup, but didn't debut. They decided to move them to this year. Those titles are Dave Patel's feature directorial debut, Monkey Man, Jennifer Lopez Auctioneer, The Mother, George C. Wolfe's civil rights drama, Rustin, John Ridley's Shirley, Adam Sandler's vehicle, Spaceman, the Jamie Foxx starring They Cloned Tyrone, the starry comedy We Have a Ghost, Kenya Barris's first feature, You People, and South Korea's Jung-E. So those were all supposed to come out last year, but are now coming out this year.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And in addition to several of those titles, Netflix has revealed premiere dates for works such as acclaimed filmmakers as David Fincher, The Killers, Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, David Yates' Pain Hustlers, and F. Gray Grave, Lift, and by TV titans like Sam Esmail from Leave the World Behind. Other projects solidifying their release plans include sequels to Murder Mystery 2, The Extraction 2, and the Gal Gadot spy pick Heart of Stone, the Millie Bobby Brown-led Damsel, and Luther. Now, The Fallen Son, the film consultation of Golden Globe-winning detective series starring Idris Elba. Then there's a previously untitled comedy starring Nicole Kidman, Zac Efron, and Zoe King, which is now titled A Family Affair, is set for a November bow. Anticipated features to come from Netflix in 2023 that have not been yet dated include Bradley Cooper as Leonard Brinston's pick, Maestro.
Really excited about that one.
Wes Anderson's currently untitled adaptation of Roald Dahl's story, including the wonderful story of Henry Sugar, the swimming drama Naid, marking the narrative feature debut for Oscar-winning documentarians Elizabeth Chai Roshi and Jimmy Chin, and the long-awaited Chicken Run sequel, Dawn of the Nugget, and the Jonas Courant Chupa, along with others. So a lot of stuff coming from Netflix, man. And I mean, they're trying. I'll give them that. They're trying.
It's an interesting mix of films and stories. So, we'll see. I bet half of those will hit and half will miss. That's just my opinion. But I am excited about Bradley Cooper's Leonard Bernstein one. I think that's going to be really good. This one I'm excited about because it's good. Like we were talking about earlier about going out on top. Right? Like going out and being fine with before you've overstayed your welcome. Cobra Kai has been renewed for season 6 on Netflix, but the creators announced this week that the upcoming season will indeed be its last.
Makes sense.
The show's 5th season had a more than solid performance, opening to 100% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes with an astounding 107 million hours watched on the streamer. It's an extremely popular show. It's been popular since its get-go, even more popular when it dropped over on Netflix from YouTube, but you want to go out while you're still popular.
Yeah.
And I think this is they set up what appears to be a pretty good finale. So I think season 6 is going to be really good and a nice way to say goodbye to it.
For sure, man. For sure. Heading over to Apple, and holy fuck, you guys know I'm a podcast guy, and I have been fucking hearing this promo literally on all the fucking podcasts. Like, Apple is pushing this thing hard fucking core.
Oh yeah.
They released this new trailer for an upcoming series, Shrinking, ahead of its premiere on January 27th. Now, Shrinking follows a motley crew of characters dealing with the grief of sadness through comedy, led by Harrison Ford and Jason Segel, written and executive produced by Jason Segel. The 10-episode series follows Jimmy, who's played by Segel, a grieving therapist who starts to break the rules and tells his clients exactly what he thinks. Ignoring his training and ethics, he finds himself making huge, tumultuous changes to people's lives, including his own. And man, oh man, this shit, like I said, I mean, it's on different genres of podcasting too. So, I mean, they're really fucking pushing it.
Jason Segel telling Harrison Ford what he thinks
Yeah.
I'm all in already.
I think this is their next Ted Lasso. I'm not going to lie. I think it's going to be a next cult following type show.
Well, and they need the next Ted Lasso because Apple also announced a spring premiere for season 3 of its Emmy-winning comedy Ted Lasso and released the first image from the coming run. But although it seems heavily agreed upon in most of the industry and most inside sources that will be the final season, the streamer did not, however, say whether the coming season would indeed be the show's last, as has been widely speculated. Now, creators Jason Sudeikis, Bill Lawrence, Brendan Hunt, and Joe Kelly sold the series, based, of course, on a character Sudeikis played in a series of NBC Sports promos with the pitch for a 3-season arc. That said, when the cast signed new deals with significant pay bumps ahead of production of this season, they included options for future seasons. I think that's just standard, though. I think that's getting people's hopes up, but I don't think so. Ted Lasso is Apple TV's most successful show to date.
It is.
Based both on awards it has won the past 2 Emmys for Best Comedy Series and on Nielsen's measurement, where it's the only Apple series to consistently break into the rating service's weekly top 10 streaming charts. As for season 3, the first photo from the show hints at a still unresolved tensions between Ted and Nate, who, of course, left AFC Richmond at the end of the season 2 and ended up at West Ham United, the Premier League team owned by Rupert Mannion. It shows Nate and Ted meeting in the West Ham facilities with Rupert looming in the background. So, yeah, that doesn't sound good.
I'm so excited. You really have to watch this show.
I know I haven't jumped on it yet.
God.
I really do.
It's so good. There's so many different aspects. Well, Apple TV Plus is actually following Netflix's lead. They canceled The Mosquito Coast after the first 2 seasons. Based on Paul Sidhu's best-selling novel, The Mosquito Coast follows the dangerous journey of Ali Fox, a brilliant inventor and stubborn idealist who uproots his family on a dangerous quest to find a refugee from the United States government, cartels, and hitmen. The season 2 finale aired earlier this month. So there it is.
I'm not too disappointed about that.
Yeah, I had no idea that it even existed. So, I mean, it makes complete sense. It makes complete sense.
In a jam-packed industry news section, I have nothing to say on that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, of course, we had to bring you everything, man. We had to have it loaded for the first show back. But, man, oh, man, now it is time for Paul Sidhu's interview. Like I said, very intelligent individual, very like-minded. And his aspect and his, his thought process is very, very intriguing, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy this.
I think so, too. This is definitely an interview for you up-and-comers who want to figure out how to get it done, and it also is very inspiring as to show you can do it in multiple different ways to get started, and he's a prime example of that.
For sure, for sure. Well, here he is. Goodness gracious.
On cue.
All right, guys. If you are watching this, just to let you know, after you watch the live video, you can go back and watch Paul Sidhu's interview right now. It's available right now on our channel, so be sure to check that out.
Yes.
But now we'll jump into the back half and scatty on out of here. Oh, man, we are ready for the top 5 segment. Oh, my goodness. And I mean, what better way to bring back the freaking podcast by having a top 5 favorite ITCAF podcast moments of 2022.
Yeah, it's a good way to look back, to move forward.
Right? Oh, exactly. A lot of good things happened last year. And one of them being John Clarence, man, John Clarence Stewart, we were huge fans of his from Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, and he was honestly my favorite on that show. So when we got the opportunity to freaking interview this guy and have a conversation, I was all fucking over it.
And you told him that. You couldn't wait to tell him,
I was so excited. Like, I was Team Simon from day one. I was A1 since day one, bro. I'm just freaking saying. So that was definitely a big highlight for me back in 2022. That was probably, my awestruck moment of our guest acquiring abilities. So yes, number 5 for me is John Clarence Stewart. I was so happy for that.
Oh yeah. So my number 5, I had to be mentioned because we had to talk about it. We were live during the Oscars last year when it all went down. So you knew we were going to talk about it on ITCAF. I'm of course talking about Will Smith's Oscar slap moment. Keep his wife out of your fucking mouth. Look, man, like so many other people, when we were live doing our Oscar show, we watched it. We weren't sure at first. Was that a joke? Is this real? What's going down? We, of course, did find out that it was real. And I highly recommend you go back and watch episode or listen to episode 191 and our take on the whole situation. Because boy, did we have some views on what went down with Will.
For sure.
It's a very interesting segment of our news that week. And I think it was funny and relevant and important. It was just all kinds of stuff mixed in. You definitely want to go back and listen to what we had to say there, because I think you'll enjoy it immensely.
Oh, most definitely, man. Most definitely. Well, for me, my number 4 goes to the top 5 podcast episode. And that one was episode 210. I really enjoyed that one because I am super big into podcasts, especially like comedy podcasts and where people just tell stories about their life and, obviously industry news podcasts and about the entertainment industry and actors interviews and things like that. It all gives me ideas and gets my creative juices flowing on what we could do with our show and how we could make it even better. 'Cause it's always, my competitive brain trying to always one up people, but it's always so fun for me too, because like I said, it's just so inspiring and so it gives me the ability to unplug from everything else that we're doing with the company and with the podcast. So it's been very eye-opening to me to find all of these different podcasts and to have endless amounts of information. And that's what is amazing in this year of, just information technology, man. But yeah, number 4 for me, top 5 podcasts on episode 210. Go back and listen to that one.
Oh, there you go. My number 4 moment was probably the biggest smile you will ever see on my face
Ever.
during the podcast that we do each week. You probably could have seen it from space. And why did I have that smile? Because I was elated at the fact that we had been predicting, and it actually happened. Bob Chapek got the fuck out of Disney and Iger returned. I could not wait to talk about that on the show. I was so excited. I was so pumped. As you guys know, if you're a fan of this show, if you've listened to anything, I fucking hated Bob Chapek. Just every minute of him at the helm of Disney was heartbreaking to me. Our newest addition to the office right there, Walt Disney up there, he was crying in his grave. I'm just saying, okay? So I was elated when we heard that Bob Iger was coming back and they were fixing that shit. Bye-bye, Chapek. You got a nice payday, but I'm just telling you, I was so happy. I'm happy now. I can't say it without smiling. It's a reason it's my number 4 all-time moment from last year. I loved it.
Oh my goodness. It was absolutely hilarious. And to be a fly on the wall during that show, man, oh man, be sure to go back and listen to that one. It was a lot of freaking fun.
The E is next to it. Yeah. I had some choice words.
Yeah. That's for sure. That's freaking for sure. Well, number 3 for both of us. And I mean, it kind of continues on. We both have the top 3 of the same one, because I mean, our sentiments are shared. The Kelly Giddish interview. I mean, that one, she was just so down to earth and so humble. She was one of the biggest stars we have ever gotten on the show, especially with that long of a run on a very successful franchise. So to have her come on the show and not have an ego, be very humble, very down to earth, and talk about her experience and just her overall gratitude to Dick Wolf and the writers and how the story impacted her life and how she was able to impact other people's life. Like, you all know that our forever guest, Rebecca Kennedy, shared a very touching episode with the one and only Amanda Rollins, Kelly Giddish. So that was really fun to talk about and to go back and reminisce about. So I just loved having her on the show.
Yeah, and one of the most special moments about it was the fact that, in playing into her humility and being able to just be a generous human being as the way she was that she agreed to do the interview on the week of her final episode, which obviously played massively into our podcast, having her on that week. after the same week that her final episode aired was just incredible. And I think just a very memorable moment. And, I don't think we'll ever be able to thank her enough for agreeing to come onto the show on such a pivotal moment of her life come on, guys. During that week, everybody was trying to get to her. Everybody was trying to talk to her about her exit. And she was gracious enough to allow us to be two of those people.
Yeah.
And that it was such an amazing moment, right? Like it was incredible. So
it really was, man. It really was. And another moment, and just overall interview. And we want to clarify because this interview was recorded in 2022, but it came out in 2023. And that's Autumn Reeser's interview. We got so deep, and it was honestly the perfect way to lead into our new podcast, Everything's Okay.
It was,
because we got very deep on just mental health and how, you navigate things, and everybody's on their own journey, and everybody has to respect each other's journey. And especially coming from the parental and child aspect to, talk about the difference in that. And it was just an amazing thing to be able to have her back on for the third time, right? The fourth time. And to, open the door to that conversation, because she is one that just loves talking about life. So it was awesome to share that experience with her.
Yeah. And of course, we had her on to promote the new Wedding Veil trilogy, which, by the way, the last one airs tonight, guys. The last one in the series airs tonight. But, and of course, we did talk about that. And we talked about her career moves and her transition behind the camera and all that kind of stuff. But Autumn is one of the most personable and most genuine and generous people that you could ever meet or hope to know. And so anytime that we talk to her, it does tend to take that trek into the personal aspect of life and just talking about raising kids and balancing the work life and just like dealing with the stuff that's going on in the world. Like in this episode, she said, life is fucking hard right now.
Exactly.
It's like, and it really is. And so whenever we're able to have any of the guests on and we get to dive deep into life and how people are dealing with it and stuff, it's a special moment. And it's especially special when it's a friend of ours who opens up and shares, and so willingly shares, because that type of an interview, I think, and being that type of a person that Autumn is, it inspires others.
It does.
And lets them know that they're not alone in going through what they're going through. Even people in the entertainment industry, even people that have reached the level of Autumn, also deal with these things on a daily basis. And like you said, it leads perfectly into our new podcast that we were trying to do. And so, yeah, it was a very touching moment. It was a very special moment for us. And we, of course, plan on having her back on this and the other podcast, and hope to have many more conversations with her, because I think those type conversations help people. And it was just a really special moment. I'm right there with you.
No, for sure, man, for sure. And number one for both of us, it was probably the hardest I've laughed in years, man. The hardest I've laughed in so long.
Without doubt, the best misspeaking. And we have a lot of misspeakings on this show. We butcher names. We misspeak on things. But this one takes the cake, man. This one by a landslide.
Like when Greg Berlanti was tapping Ray Romano. Man, go back, episode 211. We have the exact time for you, you can see that. It was so hard just to get through the rest of that fucking story. Now it is a minute 58, second 28, 58:28. Go to that time, and you can see us just start dying, laughing, trying to get through that. Oh my goodness. It was one of the last stories in our industry news segment. Thank goodness, because there was no way we were going to get through the rest of the industry news.
And I'm sorry, I'm just a child. I was like a 4-year-old. To your credit, you tried very hard.
I did.
It took you a minute to realize what you said, but it did not take me. It took me a second to realize what he said. And like a 4-year-old, started dying laughing. And he tried his best to keep going with the story, but could not. I would not let him. I could not stop laughing, to which he could not stop laughing. I mean, if you know anything about Greg Berlanti and Ray Romano, you get the humor in what he says by misspeaking, and it's fucking hilarious. It's still hilarious.
It is.
We still reference it all the time.
When I went back to go find like the minute and stuff, when I was listening to it, I started dying laughing again.
You can't help but laugh whenever you hear it. I want to make it my fucking ringtone. Whenever I'm having a bad day, I'm just going to play it, and you can't help but cheer up. It's fucking funny,
That's so funny. But yes, guys, those are for the top 5 ITCAF moments from 2022. Please let us know if your favorite moment was on this list, or if not, what was your favorite moment? We want to know. Be sure to comment below in the YouTube section, comment section, wherever you're listening to this, or add us on Twitter. We love the fan interaction.
Yes.
We love keeping that going. But man, oh man, be sure. Let's go over to the box office recap. And I mean, of course, Avatar: Way of Water still came in at number 1 with 32.4 million. Megan came in at number 2 with 18.3 million. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish came in at 14.4 million, which actually I've heard a lot of good things about this one. So, I mean, possibility you're going to go see that one. A Man Called Otto, which I did see, very freaking good. Go see that one. Came in at 14.8. That's the Tom Hanks one. And the Jerry Butler one, Plane, came in at number 5 with 10.3.
Mm-hmm.
New movies coming out are Alice, Darling, The Sun, Missing, Maybe I Do, and 80 for Brady.
Oh my gosh.
The only one that I know is 80 for Brady. And I think that one comes out the following week. So yeah, man, I mean, I'll go back. There's a lot of good movies out right now. I mean, Avatar, Megan, Puss in Boots, A Man Called Audio Plane. And I mean, it's so freaking good. There's a lot of stuff out there right now. Fabelmans is still out in select theaters.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So a lot of good stuff, guys.
If you can see Fabelmans, find it and go see it. Another one, because it's very limited on screens right now, maybe only playing once or twice a day, The Whale. I still haven't been able to make a post about it. I saw it. I am trying so hard to figure out what I want to say about this film.
Yeah.
Unbelievable film, and he should hands down win the Oscar for Best Actor.
Nice.
I can't imagine him not. But if you can find it, go see it.
For sure. And I gave you 2 assignments. You knocked off one, The Fabelmans. Did you watch Everything Everywhere?
No, that's on my list for this weekend.
God.
I know.
Oh,
There's so many. There's so many good ones.
Oh, man.
You know us. We watch everything that's going to be lined up for the Oscars. We watch everything.
Movies you can still go see right now: House Party, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, The Whale, Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody, and a couple of other ones like we already mentioned.
Yes.
IMDb Pro's top trending segment. The top trending movie is The Pale Blue Eye, which whatever that is, I'm gonna have to do some research into.
It's right here.
It's right there.
I have 2 of them.
Exactly.
I have no idea. We'll
top
have to look
trending
what that is.
TV show is The White Lotus, and Harry Melling is the top trending star.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Well, guys, thank you so much for getting crazy with us on episode 215 of Inside the Crazy Ant Farm. We got to thank our guest one more time, Paul Sidhu, for coming on the show and getting crazy with us and passing on that knowledge about just everything that he's got going on. Be sure to follow him at The Real Paul Sidhu on Instagram. And you guys know you can follow the company on social media at Crazy Ant Media, and follow us both personally on social media. Myself at J Logan Austin and
Crazy Ant CEO. That's right. New year, new handles.
Yes,
you got to find us.
We wanted to make it more professional, man. And be sure to follow the podcast at ITCAF Podcast on all social media. And if you are not already, be sure to subscribe to the podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast: Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more. And be sure to like the video on YouTube, comment below, and ring the bell for all the notifications. Subscribe, all the good things. And you guys know we do have a new podcast out right now, strictly about mental health. The next episode comes out the first week of February, so be sure to check that one out. The first episode is out now. It's titled Welcome, Everything's Okay. And mental health, like I said, and it kind of just scratches the layer of who we are, what we deal with on a daily basis, and how we overcome our mental difficulties. The second episode is going to be titled Loss, and it's going to be dealing a lot with tragic and very impactful losses that we have had in our life. And we know you have had the same. Our goal is to just let you guys know that you are not alone, and it's all about helping one person at a time. So,
for sure.
Be sure to visit our website too, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We got shirts, we got hats, we got tumblers. We need freaking coffee mugs. We drink coffee every freaking week. We're definitely going to get coffee mugs so we can start sporting it on the podcast. That's definitely a priority. And man, this was just such a great episode to be back. It's a great thing to, like we were talking about off air, to be able to balance the 2 podcasts with something that's so fun and talk about something that we love, and then also be able to talk about the serious topics and be able to get that off too, because you and I both, we bottle shit up. So it's really good to get that out, but it's also good to let it all go and be free and be goofy like we do on this podcast. So it's a great balance of what we're doing here. And I just love everything we're doing. And yeah, man, fuck Nelson Perez or fucking Peltz or whatever the fuck his name is. Fuck that guy. He's a
yeah. It's never gonna happen, my man. Just never. Step away. It's not happening. The House of Mouse will survive you. You will not be there. Move on, my friend. Move on.
Just saying.
I don't have $800 million, but I'm telling you, move the fuck on. Yeah, I'm just so happy to be back. I even though we weren't with you guys for the past few weeks, we were following the industry nonstop because that's what we do. We love this thing. We love everything about it. We love being a part of it. And so to be able to come to you guys each week and talk about it and just share our passion, we love every aspect of that. And with the new podcast, you're right. It's such a good balance. But then it's also kind of interesting how sometimes the worlds merge. So many of the stories that we talk about in the industry news segment are dealing with things that we will be dealing with in our new podcast, loss and grief and mental health and all these things. And it's so interesting how the worlds collide somehow. So that's going to be really interesting to see over the next year, how that all plays out too. And, we've got all these changes, right? We've got new music. We've got a new look. We've got how we're doing things. We've new, it's just all these new things. But one thing that will never change on ITCAF podcast.
Freaking 6 years strong. We love the one, the only
Oprah.
Man, oh man, do we? That is definitely a goal for 2023. As always, it's always a freaking
It's always a goal, and one day she is going to say yes.
It's going to happen.
One day it is going to happen. Come on, Oprah.
I'm so excited for that day. But thank you guys for getting crazy with us on episode 215. Hope you guys are enjoying your day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and check out Everything's Okay, because everything is okay. Y'all have a great rest of your weekend and week, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yes.